What's up, guys? It's Nate here. Today, I wanted to take some time to talk a little bit about this Scream 1 hero production uh, screen used all in one mask. Okay. So the reason I decided I wanted to do this video, I talked a little bit about it with a couple people. Talked about it with Douglas over at Drown Boy Productions. Um, I decided that I wanted to do this video to talk about, to try to get the story of this mask out there. There's a lot of misconceptions about this mask out there right now. And unfortunately, and let me just say right off the bat, I don't mean everybody. There's a lot of people who completely understand. They've read the messages and my responses, and they understand the situation. But unfortunately, there's still a handful of people, one person in particular, who always, doesn't matter what it is that I say or post, it's wrong, it's a lie, it's fake, it's this, it's that. That one person, I mean, at this point, there's nothing I can do to get that person to stop. Most of you probably know who I'm talking about. I'm not gonna even give him the dignity of saying his name in this video. Regardless, having said that, that's not what this video is about. Okay, so for those who do not know what I'm talking about, there is a mask that is currently, we'll start here today. Currently, it's been making the rounds online on a lot of the movie prop collectors groups, on a lot of the Scream mask collectors groups on Facebook and online. This is a mask that's in a private collection, and essentially they are posting that this mask is a hero production modified mask, and they're citing messages that I've sent them explaining what it actually is. They're citing those in their post as the reason for the reason that they're calling the mask what they're calling it. The problem with that is that I didn't even sell this person the mask. The mask, there's a lot of people that go, well, this mask came from Nate Reagan. The mask didn't come from me. So now let's backtrack. Let's go back to where this all started. So, story time. So, my first introduction, we'll say, to this particular mask was back in 2010. So, almost 13 years ago. So, almost 13 years ago, I was contacted by a very, I don't want to say well known, because he keeps kind of all of his stuff more private, but we'll say respected. I was contacted by a very respected prop collector who had an absolutely insane Scream prop collection. I mean, they had this person at the time that this all happened in 2010, this person had probably 4 confirmed legit production Fun World masks from Scream 1 and Scream 2. And they had, I believe, 7 of the original K&B effects masks made for the original Scream. All acquired directly from people that worked on production. And they also had the Scream, the only existing that we've known, the only one that survived, the Stab costume package, like complete. The bag, the insert, the mask, the knife, the costume, the whole 9 yards. Like, it was incredible. This was shortly after I had acquired my K&B masks and my Fun World masks that were used in the production of Scream 1 and Scream 2, when I had that large lot of them. And this collector was looking to acquire the K&B masks that were in my possession, as they were like the only ones that he didn't have, apparently. And one of the masks that was part of an offer that he made to me was this mask. I'll throw a picture up of it here. And again, 2010, 13 years ago almost. The information that is out there now was not out there in 2010. I can tell you right now from experience, and anybody else that was a member of the communities then can tell you that. There wasn't even the communities that we have now. We had the Scream community, and that was pretty much it. There wasn't really a Ghostface mask community in 2010 online. That started to pop up on the michaelmyers.net forum. There was like a time in like 2011, 2012, probably actually closer to 2012, where people started to post a lot about the masks and the different types of masks. And well, there was, we have all these names now, like TD stamp and EU stamp and RDS. And when you say these terms now, ultra white, when you say these terms now, everybody knows what we're saying. We all know what we're talking about. These terms weren't being thrown around in 2010. Okay, and that's the point of what I'm saying. So the community was non-existent in 2010. So the information just wasn't out there. So this mask was first presented to me in 2010. The mask came from a person that worked on production. And it was noted not by the production person necessarily, but by the original owner of the mask. So keep this in mind. This mask came from somebody on production, was then sold to somebody else, who then in turn sold to the collector that I'm talking about, that had all the K&B masks and everything. So there's 3 times that it changed hands already by the time it came to me in my attention in 2010. So in 2010, this mask is brought to my attention, and it's noted like, hey, you want to see something really unique about this mask? Check it out. It has this extra fabric on it that appears to have been added by production, because, there's no mask like that out there. And it has really, really dark eye mesh. And also, look at it. It's painted white. Like, it's bright, bright white. So, that had to have been painted by production. Wow, this is freaking amazing. So, anyways, long story short on that. Too late, I know. I ended up acquiring it in 2010. It was part of a deal that I made with this collector, and I ended up acquiring it. Now, the details that were out there at the time were basically just passed on from owner to owner. So production person sells it to owner number one. Owner number one is like, holy shit, look at this thing. It's got extra fabric on it. It's got super dark eye mesh. It's like painted bright white. It's not even glow in the dark. It's like, it looks like it's hand painted. This is amazing. They pass that information on to owner number two, who I got it from. Owner number two passes the mask and that information on to me, owner number three. So now I'm owner number three, and I essentially just have that information. There's no other information out there. Keep in mind, too, I had also posted this thing everywhere when I got it in 2010. And not one of you came forward and said, hey, whoa. That's actually an all-in-one mask from Fun World, and it's actually like standard off the shelf. There's no, those aren't production modifications. No one came forward and said that because, again, very key important thing here. Nobody knew what an all-in-one was at the time. I only had the mask for a very short amount of time. I had it for less than a year. I believe I sold it in 2011. It might have even still been 2010. But just for argument's sake, we'll just say I sold it in 2011. So me, Nate, owner number three, sells it to owner number four in 2011, less than a year later. What do I do when I do that? Same thing that happened with me. I passed that information that I had along to owner number four. So now owner number four has the mask and the information that was passed on by me, which I had been given by owner number two, which was given by owner number one originally, and from the production person. So you see what's going on here. I don't know how long owner number four had the mask, but they had it for quite some time before they eventually sold it to its current owner, owner number five. Now, at the time that owner number five bought it, that information was again passed along. So now you have owner number five has the same information passed along to him that every previous owner had. But something interesting happened. Shortly after owner number five acquired it and eventually started posting it publicly was around the time that now the collector groups are a little closer to what they are today. And essentially, by the time owner number five acquired it and posted it, we knew what it actually was. That, yes, it did in fact come from production. This mask was on set of the movie. However, the added fabric, the white paint on the face, and the super shiny paint on the mouth, and the super duper duper dark eye mesh was not modifications done by production. What it actually was this costume that Fun World released called an all-in-one, and that's what it was. That's how they were made. They had this extra long piece of fabric. The idea was you just bought it. It's just one thing. You put the mask on, and this piece of fabric hangs down, and it covers your whole body up, and it's an all-in-one. It's just one thing you got to put on, and you got a whole full costume there. And the way the white was painted, that's just how those masks came. Same with the eye mesh. They were just really dark. Which is kind of weird because it's my understanding that those were actually a child costume. Because I do remember the mask being a little bit smaller. But what everybody at the time kind of assumed that it either was it was either one of the original, like, masks used in a close-up because of the dark eye mesh and the white paint, or it was something that was maybe the mask that was in the Father Death costume. That would explain all that extra fabric. Maybe they just sewed fabric on, folded it up so there wasn't a full costume, and they had the masks on top. You slid it in the package. That was kind of like everybody's guess. But, you know, again, there was no way to match it. So, really, at no time was this ever, like, posted at least by me or owner number 4 or owner number 2 or owner number 1 is like, well, this is what this is, because there was no, it wasn't matched, so nobody ever said that. And owner number 5, the current owner, never said that. They just used the terms like hero, screen use, production, but in their description have used the information that was passed along, this old information, 2010 information that, well, it's painted white and it's got this extra fabric. It's got to be production modified. As I said, we know now that it's not. The terms that the current owner is using in their description, it completely goes against what they're then posting in their description, going, well, look, Nate Reagan, here's a COA or a letter of authenticity from Nate Reagan himself, and it doesn't get any better than that. And if you actually read, you know, the LOA that was sent to them by me, it's the corrected information. It's literally saying, like, yo, listen, here's the deal. When this mask was making its rounds originally through the first 4 owners, nobody knew what an all-in-one mask was. So it was just assumed that, well, I mean, we've never seen a mask like this with the fabric and the white paint. It has to be production modified. We now know that's not the case. Now, that doesn't negate what the mask is on its own. The mask did come from production. It was on set. It is still a production mask. But those things that we all thought were modifications at the time, which, again, when I was posting it in 2010, after I acquired it, I posted it everywhere. None of you came forward and was like, hey, that's an all-in-one mask. You know why? Because nobody knew, including everybody. So in a nutshell, what the point of this video is just to talk about it a little bit, to try to make sure that everybody understands that there was no intentional misinformation being put out there. There was never any, like, deceit behind the mask. And, you know, because he's using my name being attached to it, I am getting a lot of messages about it, like, hey, what's this? This is an all-in-one mask, and they're saying it came from you. Like I said, I'm owner number 3 of how many owners now? 4, 5. I don't even know exactly how many times it changed hands. As far as I know, it's been 5. I think it's on owner number 5 now. I had it for just a brief amount of time, so in the middle there. So it's changed hands twice since I owned it. So the current owner that everybody has this issue with of how they're presenting it didn't even get it from me. I've done what I could in trying to correct their information by sending them current information that's accurate and explaining this is still a production mask, but these aren't modifications, and here's why we thought they were, because this information wasn't available at the time. Now it is. Now we know that they are not modifications, that it did come this way, but it's still a production mask, so it does not negate what the actual item is. That's all I can do. I can't force anyone to change the description. It's not my mask. It hasn't been for almost 13 years. So I feel like between explaining it to them, messaging them, and doing this video, I've done my part. But I just wanted to completely clear the air for anybody that's aware of it and make sure that everybody understands that from day one, from the original owners, that 2 people that had it before me, myself, owner 4, there was never any intentional, like, misinformation being put out there. There was just that information of the all-in-one costume was not known at the time. So those modifications, or those features, we'll say, were assumed to be modifications. And even now, I've had people message me going like, hey, that all-in-one costume, like the with a Gen 1 mask attached, that's like super rare in and of itself. Like, there's only 2. It's one of only 2 known to exist in the entire community right now. So that just shows you how rare this thing was. Again, 2010, nobody had any idea. But all right, that's it. I've rambled on long enough. I just wanted to get that information out there so everybody knew, if you did stumble across this somewhere, that you know, it was not some sort of, you know, lie or trickery on anybody's part, trying to pass off something that it wasn't. The mask is 100% legit from production. It's just the modifications that we thought were modifications turn out not to be. But that's what happens over time. You learn more. You have to be able to adapt to what is learned, and you can't constantly go back to old information and old posts and old emails and old messages and go, well, hold on a second, hold on. Nate Reagan said in 2007, blah, 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 blah. But here he is in 2022 saying blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's what happens. When more information comes out and you learn more, you get to go back and go, oh, hey, you know this thing that we all thought was this? It turns out it's not. Okay. So that's all. And like I said, I'm just one of at least 5 people that own that mask. I probably own it for the shortest amount of time of any of the owners. But yet my name keeps getting thrown into it. And like I said, I feel like I've done my part. I've explained what it actually is to the current owner and in this video to all of you. Don't know what else I can do. I understand the frustration. I understand that people just don't want misinformation out there, and we're all just trying to keep the misinformation out. And I get it 100%, but like I said, I feel like I've done what I can. So I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to say, guys. But I want to thank all of you that did reach out to me objectively and essentially said, yeah, hey, we know, we get it. We're not saying that there's any intentional anything, or we're not saying that you did anything wrong or whatever. We're trying to correct it from the current owner. So do appreciate all of you that did that. Screw all of you who posted or commented basically just saying like, oh yeah, it's fake because it came from him. Like I said, one person in particular, I'm not going to name him, but most of you probably know who I'm talking about. So yeah, that's it, guys. I don't know what else to say about it. I got a couple more videos coming your way. I've got another Scream video coming, got another filming locations video, so stay tuned for those. And until then, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe.